Hey there, welcome to the Mountain of God. My name is Camille. Today is 9th of June, 2021. Welcome to video number 43. Today I want to just jump in and talk about one thing that I'm thinking about it a lot lately. In the last few days, there was something that was basically on my mind and I just want to share it with you. I want to talk about how you can change your paradigm, how you can change the way you look at your life, even though nothing's going to change by itself, by changing or understanding few things about what is your life in context of your father would completely change it. So, listen, the thing is very simple. There are like three stages that I see right now, basically, that might happen in your life. One of this is just living your life. When everything is fine, you're living in time of relative peace, you just have your work, have your life, you have your kids, your wife, your pet, life goes on. And everything is fine. And because, the whole experience of living was built basically to look like this. Because when you look at the Garden of Eden, that was basically why God created this whole thing, so we could just enjoy life. So that's something that we easily get used to. This is the time that we don't really need much. We just want to experience and live in this state all the time. And there's nothing extraordinary, even though it is extraordinary that we have this time, that this thing happened. But the stage number 2 is the stage when something goes wrong. Something is not going as we would like to. And this is the moment when our life splits. And you can become a person who is basically one of two people. One, someone who is, in constant anxiety, what's going to happen. You got depression, you're completely, living in fear. Or you can be someone who is, even though everything goes against you, you're able to keep calm and just continue living. And you see, the stage number 2 is kind of very interesting, because if you look at it as normal people do, normal meaning most of the people, you will get depressed and you will get anxiety. Because one of the things that we as human beings, we're afraid of is not knowing. And we're afraid of something that we don't know or we don't understand. And that's why you see for last few days, I'm having this thought. Again, I think based on the things that we were talking about, like all the time. What if everything that happens in your life, it happens for a reason? And I don't want to start to sound like this new agey-ish kind of guy who is saying that the universe is always, everything happens for a reason because the universe is taking care of you, or whatever. I'm always laughing from this kind of people, because they understand the rule, but they don't understand why. And this is when God comes into play, because if you understand who He is and how He created, you understand that this is the right rule. They kind of read between the lines of this world, but they don't understand the source. And that's the big difference. Because if you don't know or don't understand the source, you cannot do anything. You just believe because it's supposed to work. But when you have a relationship with your Father, then you can start to look at your life, and when something happens and you say, okay, there's nothing that gets out of my Father's control. There's nothing that happens that He didn't know about. Or He kind of, I don't know, there's no situation when He just, left for a weekend and he has a day off, and then everything crumbles and He's just coming back and it's like, oh. When God says, oh my God, there's no such situation. So if you understand this truth and look at your life from this perspective, through this kind of lens, you may get to the point that you'll start to see that there's always something deeper. There's always a lesson. There's always, whatever happens, no matter how tough and how hard, there's always something played out, even though you don't see it. And what I want to convey today, what I want to kind of push you a little bit, or kind of suggest, or I want to encourage you to do, is, especially in this time, in this kind of times, I want you to go and visit him and start asking him not, oh my God, why did you allow this to happen? Or where will it end? Try to ask, what am I supposed to learn from it? What is the game that you try to play here? What can you tell me what's going on from your perspective, so I would get smarter out of it? So I won't have to wait until it ends to draw conclusions, but when this thing happens, I can be smart and say, I think there's something interesting playing out in here. And because I'm involved, it means that not only I'll be able to handle it, not only I can become smarter and better and much more intelligent and wise out of it, but when you start poking your father and ask him, Dad, tell me what's going on. Tell me your secrets. Tell me, what do you put me in? What is this whole thing all about? When you poke him enough, he'll start sharing with you and telling you things that many times nobody will know. Nobody will understand. You will be one of a very small amount of people who are even going to realize what's going on in your kind of local problem, local situation, or maybe even in grander scale of things. But that's an amazing thing that kind of links us to this verse from Old Testament, who basically says that he can show you the secrets, that he wants to share with you what he's doing. And I don't want you to kind of go and do something crazy. Just go as a child and ask him, Dad, tell me what's going on. What are you doing? How can I enjoy the thing that happens, even though it might hurt? Just because I understand, I know that you're playing and you're doing something that I don't understand, but I will want to. Then you start to see that every experience that you have will become something fascinating. Because even when you're going through all of this, you will start to see, okay, I got it. That told me ABC, XYZ. And I'm looking at all of this from a completely different perspective, even though knowing this would not change your circumstance. You will not end up in, everything will just sort it out. No, kind of the contrary. Many times when you learn what's going on, you'll be dragged in even deeper in the problem, in the exercise, in this task, in this problem issue. You'll start to see that knowing will give you more strength and more kind of resilience to go through it. And even though it's going to hurt even more, you're gonna say, I'm gonna go through this, because now when I know what's going on, I'm gonna end up so much more wise, so much more experienced, so much more closer to the Father, just because I understand what kind of game he's playing. And then you start to see that no matter what's going to happen in your life, no matter what's the situation you'll end up in, no matter if you're gonna wake up tomorrow in completely the other side of the world, knowing no one, having nothing, you'll say, yeah, it's a crazy situation. I don't know how I'm gonna handle it, but if I'm here, it means that that's the part of the plan, that he wanted me to be here. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to ask him, Dad, why am I here? What are you trying to concoct in all of this? What this whole game is all about? Because then no situation is out of options. There's no way for you to be lost. There's no way for you to feel alone. There's no way for you to feel abandoned. Because everything is according to the plan, and everything happens for a reason, and he just waits for you to poke him so he could share with you what is this whole thing is all about. And interesting enough, if you start to understand this and start believing him in this, you'll start to understand that this is the moment you start to experience and understand miracles. Because first of all, in his dictionary, there's no such word as a miracle. He created this whole thing just speaking it to existence. Do you really think he will have issues with, healing you? Even if you lost both your legs and both of your arms, do you really think that if he would want you to be healed, he'll just, he'll have issues with it? No, he's going to say a word, and in a blink of an eye, you're going to be healed. Just because he can. It's just a matter of your faith. And many times we don't understand that because most of us, maybe not the generation of our grandparents, but most of a generation of our parents or us, we're living in peace. We're living in abundance. So we never really had a need to see miracles, especially in Western society when everything, your biggest problem is your new iPhone that you still don't have. But then when you understand that there's no such thing as miracle, because he can do whatever he wants every time and there's nothing that he can't do, then you start to see that no matter where you are, no matter what happens, everything goes according to the plan. And I want to spend even more time in these times with him to learn about the game, to learn how can I be smart, how can I be even smarter, and how can I enjoy this whole thing. Because when I'm going to get out of this issue, I'm having this mindset, I will say, that was an interesting play. That was an interesting thing. And it was worth it. And you see, at the end of the day, there's stage number 3, which world is freaking out about. Just because they tried to, and it worked in most of the cases, they tried to tell you that there's nothing else. That's why you're afraid to die, because you're afraid even to comprehend the idea that someday you may just not to wake up. That there's just complete darkness. You just cease to exist. But when you understand that it's not true, and you understand that this time on this planet is that small in comparison to the whole eternity that we're going to live with him, you see it at a completely different point of completely different point of view on your life. Even though it is important to be here, to be smart, to learn, to grow, because whatever you're going to build in here in you, you're going to take it out, and on this next level of this game, whatever it is, you're going to be yourself there. But what if even your death is part of the plan? Do you really think that your God is going to be surprised when you're going to die? I'm going to go even farther, and I'm going to talk to the things that so many people say. How God is when he says that he is love, how can he agree so children die of cancer, or why Johnny died in a car accident? What if Johnny was never in God's plan for Johnny to live? Maybe the whole idea was to Johnny to basically wake up and become conscious human being in heaven with him, with Father. You don't know. It's our projection that John is supposed to live. But I'll go even farther. Do you really think that God is having issues and he don't know what to do with those millions of kids that we kill because of abortion? Because of our inconvenience in most of the cases. Sorry, but that's statistically true. I believe that there's a special place in heaven when all of those kids that were killed in the wombs of their own mothers just because she was not ready. Because the moment, especially when the mother is Christian or the family is Christian, they'll stand up in heaven and they'll see their own child being alive, having a life, having a conscience. That's going to be a really weird moment for them. But that's just a side note. But going back to the subject, even if death is a part of the plan, you start to see it from this perspective. You start to see that there's nothing for you to be afraid of. Completely nothing in this life. Obviously, it might be scary, it might be hurtful, it might be inconvenient, it might be like the moment of dying. It's probably not something that it's comfortable. But I don't know if you know that when you're choking and you're passing out, your body releases the endorphin, and you feel blissful. Not every death is like this, or this near-death experience, but I don't know if you're aware that you can get high on endorphin. So that's why people are choking themselves, just because to feel this endorphin shot in your brain. But that is one of the things that I kind of see, that even in death, your father puts something in your body to make it easier for you. So how long is it going to take you to die? Like in like a circumstance that, I don't know, if you're drowning or you're suffocating or something, it's going to take you, what, minute? 2? 3? It's, in comparison to many people who are dying in their deathbed for years, it's nothing. And then you wake up on the other side. So I want you to look at this from this perspective. We are freaking out about our lives just because something is not as we would like to. That you start to experience something that takes you out of the stage number 1 that you really would want to be all the time. And it is great to be there. But what if you learn much more when you go through exercises, when you go through the difficulties, when you're going through issues? And what if you grow even more if you understand that every time you're going through something like this, there's more at play? That if you poke your father long enough, he'll tell you, he'll start sharing his secrets. And at the end of the day, even if you'll have to die, you'll say, well, whatever. If that's a part of the plan, if that's really my time to go, I would not even blink. Because I don't know when I'm going. I'm not afraid of death. I might be afraid of dying itself, because that's not going to be a comfortable thing. But beside that. And then you'll start to see that if you want to get there, that every time you will start to see every circumstances that are going to go against you as a time to play this game with your father, being on his team. You'll start to understand that this life is a journey. It might hurt, but even through that pain, you're going to smile. Because the more time you're going to spend with your father, the more you're going to become this really unbreakable person. Because in anything, what was going to happen, you're going to see an possibility to kind of accompany your father with playing the game on a grander scale of things. And then people will start to see that something's wrong with you. People will start to say that you're crazy, because no matter what happens, you're always smiling. You're always happy. You're like insane. You're an insane person. There's no way for you to put you in a bad mood. Why? Because no matter what happens, I'm just going to my father, and he tells me what he's doing, and now I can see his brilliance. Now I can see that it's not about the universe, who does everything so everything would work fine, but it's him playing his game as he always did, and he always will. Because everything goes according to plan. Nothing falls out of his hand. He never loses control. Everything goes according to plan. And then even the spiritual world will start to be afraid of you, because you're going to become a prophet. Not even being a prophet. You're just going to listen to what your father is saying, and you'll say, yeah, this thing's going to happen. This thing's going to happen. I heard about the A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And now I just can see that those things happening. Everybody will start to be afraid of you, because you just say this is going to happen, and it will. And then you'll understand how your whole life is going to change, no matter what happens, just because you spend your time with your father and encouraging him or poking him enough to share the secrets, what is really going on. And you'll become a player with the player with a bigger P, with a big P. So see, this is what I want you to take from this video. Everything that goes and happens in your life is just a matter of your perspective. And if you want to go through all this life as everybody else, being afraid of what's going to happen tomorrow, and being afraid what this whole lockdown's going to do, and where are we going with this? Well, go ahead. It's not going to be a fun life, because the things that are coming, that are written right there in a book, they're not going to be fun. But if you will decide to play no matter what happens, understand, go through faith, and ask him to tell you what's going on, you will become high-grade player that who many times you're just going to accompany your father. You're just going to watch what he's doing. And you'll start to see that everything changes just because you change the perspective. Just because you know that he knows what he's doing. So think about it and do something about it. Because you're this close, like this close, from changing your paradigm and changing basically yourself from a person who is afraid of tomorrow to someone who looks at the master of the game, looking and playing this game from an eternity perspective. If you like this video, like, share, comment. If you didn't, comment as well. Tell me what you think, what is your experience. And if there's anything you want me to talk about, just give me a shout. I'll be glad to talk about it for you. That being said, see you in the next video.